Two Rivers Talks is brought to you by Two Rivers Biz Starts. Also by Two Rivers Main Street. And by Raleigh Point Economic Advising. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello. Hi, Darla.
Hi. I was bebopping to the music.
I was too.
Great.
I love that. Welcome, everybody. You are at yet another episode of Two Rivers Talks. I'm Todd. I think I'm Todd still. I don't know who the heck I am.
You're Todd. I'm Carla.
Hello, Parla. How are you? We're like the mirror universe versions of Todd and Darla.
It's so weird.
Because we're definitely on the other side of the looking glass these days. Welcome to Two Rivers Talks, your connection for all things having to do with Two Rivers. If you're from Two Rivers, used to be from Two Rivers, or thinking about coming back to Two Rivers, you're going to find news, fun, arts, all kinds of interesting people that live and work in our fair city on the lakeshore. We got a cool episode coming up today, guys. We are going to be talking about trout.
Trout.
Todd talks trout and salmon. Actually, with Mr. Martin Gregory, he goes by Marty, and Jerry Kirk of the Northeastern Wisconsin Great Lakes Sport Fishermen Association. I hope I don't have to say that many times.
I know.
I caught up with them about a week ago because they're part of this annual program where they raise and release fish as part of a program through the Department of Natural Resources. And it's just amazing work, like 11,000 trout they just released right around St. Patrick's Day. And that stocks the lake. It helps the sports fishermen. It's their version of giving back. And anyways, they're two really neat guys. I had a nice interview with them and looking forward to talking with those guys. And that's what's coming up.
That sounds really interesting because I don't know anything about it. So this will be educational for me too. Well,
it was educational. I can't even say it. Educational. I can't talk today. Oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? I learned a lot.
Well, that's cool. And it's the weather's getting nicer. People are getting out fishing right now, actually.
Yeah.
And for these guys to restock, and they're really involved. And, I think it's going to be a great interview. So I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be great. And, sports fishing is something that definitely follows social distancing guidelines. You don't want a lot of people around you when you're fishing. Right. It's just you in the water and those little fishies jumping onto your hook. So
with any luck, yes.
With any luck, anyways. So that's what's coming up. We will be right back with Marty and Jim. Jerry, with Marty and Jerry. Yes. Welcome, everybody, to Two Rivers Talks. This is a special web-based edition, thanks to all of the measures that are going on in the United States right now. We hope that you and yours are staying very well. This morning, we're very happy to have along with us Mr. Martin Gregory, I believe you go by Marty, right? As well as Jerry Kirk, both members of the Northeastern Wisconsin Great Lakes Sports Fishermen. It's a mouthful. You guys have a short name for it? Nugalsef. Great. Very happy to have you guys here today. We wanted to have you on the show because you had contacted Darla and I about this story of some things that you do to stock Lake Michigan every year, and wanted to hear a little bit more about that story. You were kind enough to invite me out to an area near the Manitowoc Zoo, where you've got an area where you're raising the fish. And my understanding is they've just been released. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, we just put 11,846 coho salmon into Manitowoc River at Manitou Park, and they'll swim down to the lake.
So that's wonderful. What is it that's behind this project? Why do you guys do this? And it's something you do every year?
Yes, basically it's a group of fishermen that from the Manitowoc area, and we restock the fish that we catch because most of the fish that we catch do not have natural reproduction in the lake. So we've got, it's a put and take proposition. We put them in and then we take them out, and we're just uh, making sure the survival of our fisheries.
Hmm. And has it been about 11,000 every year? Has that number gone up or down? How has that changed?
For the coho salmon, for the last 2 years, it's been 11,000. Before that, we were doing brown trout, and I believe the last year we did brown trout, it was something like 33,000.
Wow.
But we'll have coho salmon again this year, and I think again the number will be around 11,000. They will bring in 11,000 fingerlings, and we'll keep them for a year in the pond. It's a DNR project, Wisconsin DNR, and they provide the fish and they provide the food. We provide the volunteer effort to feed them every day and keep the pond clean.
That's amazing. And then how did the two of you get involved with the project?
I have a 31-foot Chris Craft fishing boat, and I fished Lake Michigan since 1964 for salmon. So I got involved with it because it's one of the things I do in my life. I really enjoy.
I got involved because I moved here in 2010, and I met guys who had boats and they go out fishing for salmon, and they were all members of the club. And to make sure they take me on the boat, I joined the club.
Very nice, very nice. So the organization you're from, and I'm going to get the name wrong, so I'm just going to call it by the full name, the Northwestern Great Lakes Sports Fishermen. How many members are there of this, and how long has this organization been around?
Oh, we started the organization in about 68, I believe. In the mid 70s, we had well over 2,000 members. And it's dropped down since then because the fishing hasn't been that good. People who are fishing can remember when you used to be able to go out on the lake on a Saturday or Sunday morning and be out fishing lake trout, and you could literally walk boat to boat all the way from the lighthouse down to Sheboygan without getting your feet wet. There was that many boats out there. And it's slowly died down since then because the fishing has died down. Right now, I think we have about 400 members.
Okay. Yeah, I seem to recall a headline recently where Susie Q, the commercial fishing outfit, was saying that it's getting pretty hard to get enough fish to make it viable, for them in the Great Lakes.
Yes, they're having a problem too. Between the zebra mussels and some of the other mussels in the lake, they basically cleaned out the zooplankton, the zooplankton, and that's the basis for the small fish. Of course, everything feeds from the small up to the big. And the alewife suffered pretty badly here the last couple of years. It seems they're coming back right now, and we're getting much bigger fish, and we're looking for a good year this year with big fish.
Oh, that's terrific. And then the salmon that you put in and the brown trout that you've had in prior years, when you put them into the lake, do you find that they just migrate all the way up and down the lakefront? How does that? Have they ever been tracked or how they distribute?
They distribute according to the bait fish, and like the brown trout, we put them in and basically don't see them again because they end up down in Milwaukee, Chicago area, where that's their big fish. Now that we got the coho, we should have a good year this year because the coho should be returning to the Manitowoc area, Little Manitowoc, where they're planted. So hopefully this fall we'll have a good coho return. Basically, it's water temperature and bait fish is how we determine who's going to catch fish.
Okay, great. So now the fish that you released, that was around St. Patrick's Day, is that right?
Was it Marty?
Yeah, it was the 19.
Oh, okay, a little bit afterwards. How did that go? Did everything go without a hitch? I think I saw some footage that you shared with me that we'll put up some clips from that on the show here too.
Yeah, it went real well. The DNR comes down with their team, and they actually collect the fish in the pond.
Okay.
Nets, and it's in the cliff, and they bring in a water tanker, and we fill the tank with the water from the pond, and then they line up 15 buckets, and they put fish in them and weigh them, and then count the fish in each of those buckets, and that gives us an average fish per pound. And after that, we just weigh buckets of fish and put them in the water tank. But it's really, they know what they're doing, and we have our guys. We're the bucket brigade. We carry the buckets up to the tank. But it's very, they've done it a number of times, and we've helped them every time. So it's a smooth operation.
That's really great. And you guys are, like, everybody that's involved from the sports fishermen, you're all volunteers for this work.
Right. Yeah.
That's a lot of work. Why do you do it?
Well, it's fun, actually. You go down in the morning and feed them. You throw the food in there, and they come up like piranhas. They just before the day before we released them, they were jumping 3-4 inches out of the water to get at as it went into the pond. And also, it's like a community service. It's a payback. You know, we like fishing, and this puts fish in the lake for our benefit. But it's kind of interesting job. Last year, we keep track of the man hours. We're trying to become a 501c3, and we have to prove that we do something for the community. And it took 626 hours of man hour for the whole year to feed those fish and keep their pond clean.
Well,
That's a bunch of work.
I certainly think that qualifies as a great community service, and you're helping the environment. It's very conservation minded, and you're supporting your hobby and your passion. One of the things you're doing, I think that's great. Now, if I'm just somebody living around the area, Two Rivers, Manitowoc, and I'd like to see this fishing pond, is that publicly accessible? Can I go down and take a look?
Well, what we do is we have a color fish camera in the bottom of the pond. And in the zoo, if you're in the zoo, we have a platform with a 36-inch LED TV set. And you can see the fish in the pond and that you can see the gills and everything. It's pretty detailed. And what we also do is, under strict supervision, we'll let kids come in with their parents. And we let the kids throw some food into the pond. And we give them a little talk about what we do and what it's all about. We do that occasionally. We don't do it as a mass thing. The rule is 1 adult for every 2 kids. So
Okay.
6 kids in, we have to have at least 3 adults in there. The water is 52 degrees inside that pond. It comes out of an 80-foot well, and it never gets any warmer. So if somebody falls in, it's only 18 inches deep. But if somebody fell in, they'd be a very wet, cold kid.
Yeah.
I don't ever had anybody fall in yet.
Well, that's great. So now that the coho have been released, have you already restocked the pond, or when does that happen?
The DNR informed me that the fish will be here the week of the April 13th. Someday that week they'll be coming down. The fish have to be certified. Their DNR hatches where the hatcheries where they come from. They have to certify the fish what they are, and then they have to take a look at our pond and make sure that we're ready for it. In fact, this weekend we'll be scrubbing the pond and cleaning it and getting it ready. The fish that you can't just have raise fish and put them in Lake Michigan. It has to be controlled. We used to have our annual derby in July. We used to have a fish pond for the kids, and we would buy brown trout to put in the pond for the kids to catch. When that derby was over, the fish weren't gone, hadn't been caught and taken home. We could not put them in the lake. So what we do is we fillet them and give them to the food pantries.
Oh, that's a nice gesture. Sure.
You just can't raise fish and put them in the lake.
Right.
Which is well disease and stuff, so it's a good idea.
Very good. Very good. So now if I'm a sports fisherman, or thinking of becoming one, and I want to join the association, how do I go about doing that?
Easiest way is online. The Google set for Northeastern Wisconsin Great Lakes Sport Fishermen. We have a couple different websites, Manitowoc and stuff. There's actually an application for membership on it, and it's very expensive. It's all $20 a year.
Outrageous.
Yes. And we hold our meetings every third Thursday, not during the summer, at city limits. And we have a good meeting. We have a raffle there, for fishing stuff. We serve a meal, $3 to $5 we charge for the meal. Plus we have speakers from the DNR, the Coast Guard, all the different things that we're interested in. Very active membership. So if somebody's interested, they should really come to a meeting or two, find out, and then decide whether they want to join. And I think they will.
Well, that's really wonderful. I have a lot of fond memories of even freshwater fishing, where I grew up in Pennsylvania with my father and my grandfather, and so it's a great thing to do with your family, and I'm sure you guys have a lot of fun doing what you guys do. So thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything else that you wanted to share with the audience before we wrap up?
I would like to say that during the July 4th tournament, we have on Saturday morning, we have a kids fishing tournament in the where the boats are at Manitowoc, the marina, in that open area. Every kid walks away with a prize. Also, we sponsor Big Brothers Big Sisters fishing tournament on the first weekend in August. Take kids out on the boats for a day of fishing, and then they have a little barbecue afterwards. And there are a lot of other things that we do for the youth. We have a youth camp sponsorship where we give them $150 to go to a camp of their choice.
Those sound like really wonderful programs.
And can you see, this is our logo with our website on it. Can you see that on your camera? Is that
I can definitely see it, but I can also let people know that the website is newglsf.org, and
right.
We'll be sure to include that in the show notes description below the video when we put it up on YouTube and Facebook. So
yeah, we have a bunch of things on that website about what we do and when we do them,
And pictures.
and pictures of past events.
That sounds great. Well, I had an absolutely wonderful time when you invited me down to the pond to see the coho, and got to see some children feeding them. We get to get a little bit of footage of that. I'll see if Darla can cut that in, during the editing process. But really wonderful of you both to join me. I hope that you and your families and everybody stays well through all of this, and we'll look forward to maybe having you back on the show again the next time you've got some fish to release.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, gentlemen. And we'll be right back.